Hi, everybody, and welcome to the next episode of the Resident Rulebreakers. My name is Kayla.
And I'm Camille.
And on today's podcast, we're going to be talking season 4, mainly our hopes and wishes and the things that we know we're going to be seeing in season 4, which should, being the key word here, premiere in January of 2021.
Yeah, that all depends on whether
they can go back to filming it. We have some exciting news that was just confirmed over the past couple days, actually. In August, specifically August 17th, we have an interview with Malcolm-Jamal Warner, who plays the Raptor. And we're going to be talking to Malcolm about some things like Minator and his hopes for AJ and his family.
AJ's family.
Yeah, all this other stuff. And there's obviously some other topics that we'll be discussing with him.
We also might touch upon Bill Cosby.
So there's that. But this interview actually will be releasing the day before Malcolm's birthday, which is August the 18th. This isn't it helps the celebration of Malcolm's birthday. We're going to be doing some, what we normally do, a post or something. But if the listeners and the other fans want to wish Malcolm a happy birthday, you can send us birthday wishes like you did for Matt and Emily and Manish. But nonetheless, if you want to wish Malcolm a happy birthday, get them in, I'd say by August the 15th. That way I can get them edited that weekend beforehand. Because we're going to be recording Malcolm's interview relatively early before it releases.
Like about 2 weeks.
So it'll give me time to edit, so we won't have any issues with that. The next thing is Bruce Greenwood has a birthday the week beforehand on August 12th. We got 2 August birthdays, main cast. And we've tried to, Bruce has promised us an interview. That is for sure. However, we haven't been able to get back in touch with Bruce. So we wanted to do his interview for his birthday and release it for his birthday, like we're doing with Malcolm. However, we haven't gotten in touch with Bruce. In place of that, unless we get in touch with Bruce within the next couple weeks, we're going to be doing a podcast like we did for Manish about Devin. We're going to do one about Belle for Bruce for his birthday. Yeah. And that's what's in there, unless we can get in touch with Bruce between now and then. Anyways, but yeah, whether we get an interview confirmed with Bruce or not between now and August, the Bell podcast that will release the week of Bruce's birthday will release on August 10th. So just letting you know, either way, we're going to be celebrating Bruce Greenwood's birthday that week. And the same thing falls like what we did that we're going to do for Malcolm. Same thing goes for Bruce. So if you want to send Bruce some birthday wishes or something by August 8th, you need to send us those wishes in so I can get them edited. Before we dive into the main topic of our podcast, I just want to note that the next week's episode, we're going to be doing another discussion episode, which is episode 103, which is Comrades in Arms. We mentioned it last week's podcast when we interviewed Marquis. But we're going to mention it again. It's the introduction to Jude. That's when he enters the show. The next week, August 3rd, is Identity Crisis, which is 104. So we've got 2 discussion podcasts back to back because we're trying to go back and rewatch the old episodes. And then the next 2 weeks are obviously Bruce and Malcolm's interview and the birthdays. Then the weeks behind that, we're jumping right back into discussion, which is None the Wiser, which is 105, and No Matter the Cost, which is 106. So there's 5 Mondays in August. We try to plan out a month in advance. That way we know what we're doing. We mentioned very, 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 very beginning of restarting taping. We don't know. One of the earlier podcasts, we did mention Morris had mentioned something about it. And like with COVID rising in Georgia, it's very fluid. This date is probably not going to be the August 10th is probably not going to be the date. We're just saying. Mainly because the Georgia governor has banned use of mask ordinances. And he's suing the mayor of Atlanta because they enacted one.
I don't. How does that make sense? They're like, so you don't want the state to wear a mask. So why are you suing a city because they are? You know what I mean? Just because, I mean, like, there have been other states that haven't, passed a mandate, but the individual counties have. So
or cities, yes.
Yeah.
The ICUs are at capacity in many places, not just in Georgia, but in many places across the United States. And
let me put it this way, okay, you guys? If you still think this is a hoax, and you still think that you don't want to wear a mask and you're not going to get sick or whatever, it just makes me so angry because it's disrespecting the actual nurses and doctors who are working so hard every day to save people, or to comfort people who are dying or whatever. I mean, you're putting an extra burden on their shoulders by risking your health.
All we have to say is wear the mask. The first set of topics we want to talk about for what we want to see in season 4, the relationships. Obviously, they're a big part of the show. A lot of people watch just because of the romantic plot lines on the show. Obviously, I watch for all of it, okay? But we can't go into this podcast and not talk about the romantic part of it. Obviously, the first couple we're going to be talking about is Conic, because they are the main couple of the show. And obviously, we know from Amy and Marquis, Conic's getting married. Sometime in early season 4, they will be getting married. So yes, we will be having a wedding. And then we got some more insight from Marquis last week where he talked about, them talking about having babies and stuff.
Oh, yeah. Well, Marquis said that, like I said, he doesn't know if the miscarriage will come back up. But obviously the chocolate kids is going to be brought up. So, like we said, it seems like a natural next step for a married couple, even if they don't have kids next season 4 or whatever. They at least the conversation of like, okay, what is it gonna look like? What Nick is a career woman. If she,
they both have these amazing careers. They're both medical professionals. So, and Conrad's the chief resident, and he's also the head, the doctor of Georgia FC. And if he takes this offer from Kim, which we're going to get into in a minute, then there's another thing laid on top of it. That's a lot of stuff, for both of them. So the careers are kind of their a deciding factor as to when they have children. So we'll see how it plays out into their relationship. But one thing for sure is Conic's not going anywhere.
No.
Yeah,
they're happily getting married and stuff. But
and our next couple, other happily married couple,
Jessica and
Feldmore.
Yeah.
But and Jessica really didn't know much of anything because they get scripts, a few weeks before they tape. So
yeah. It seems like the actors like they. Yeah.
Anyway, the next relationship we have is a fan favorite, Minator. Obviously, it's not canon, but everyone wants it to be. obviously AJ has a girlfriend. Uh,
Yeah, I mean, not wishing anything bad on the girl, but we don't want her on the show.
she was fine until she became AJ's girlfriend.
Yeah, like, hey, do the pro-life thing or whatever is with Belle. Stay there. Shoot. Even wasn't Morris also interested in her? Shoot. Go with Kane.
Go play with Kane. Of course, now with Kane mourning his ex-girlfriend, I don't know how that's gonna play out.
Yeah.
But anyway, but yeah, Minator, I mean, obviously they've got a long ways to go before they can be together because they're still mentor and mentee too, on top of that. Yeah. So, but as Marquis said, progress.
Yeah.
We're getting progress on season 4. So that's all we can really hope for.
They're not gonna deny their obvious chemistry. I mean,
they're gonna play off Malcolm and Jeanette's chemistry. That's true. But I have a feeling it's still going to be a long journey ahead before we get what we want.
Well, talking about Minator. One thing that as I'm rewatching season 1 now, I'm noticing is that Mina was a badass, really. The first 2 seasons, like 1.5 seasons or whatever. But like the 3rd season, she's I don't know. I mean, she has her surgery scenes, I guess, but she's becoming less of a badass. I don't know, because I miss her dominance in surgeries and doing no other like 3rd year or whatever has done yet. And it's like, it was kind of lacking. A lot of people are now just focusing on her love life. And I'm like, I need Mina, the badass surgeon, kicking ass in surgeries, taking names kind of thing, back more than I need Minator. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, that she needs to develop her in her own plot line before she needs to be in a romantic relationship. Yeah. They should have their own plot lines. Like with Nick, she has the clinic. With
she
Mina,
also had her dad
and her sister.
Yep.
And with Mina, she had Adaku and Michelle, and then we have Kit, and she had the storyline with her family. But there's got to be more than just her family. Yeah, she's a mom. Yeah, she's a grandma. But is there anything outside of her being a doctor or a mom or a grandmother? Is there something else that can make Kit more well-rounded? Real. Yeah, real.
I mean, the thing about it is, here's the thing. Okay, I'm not exactly sure the age difference between Mina and Nick versus Kit. So I don't see the 3 of them really hanging out together outside of the hospital. There isn't.
Well, with Mina and Nick, yes, they've done so.
Yeah, but I don't see Kit being added onto that friendship. You get what I'm saying?
I get what you're saying.
Also, there's not really any other character in Kit's age other than Belle.
And we're gonna get into Kit and Belle in a moment, but like, there just gotta be maybe a recurring character they can bring in that's nearly the same age as Jane, that Kit can bounce ideas off of. A female character, have a girlfriend of some kind.
Yeah. You just need more Kit. I mean, season 3.
We need more Kit, yeah.
Season 3, there was lacking a lot of Jane. I'm assuming maybe she had other projects going on, but Kit is awesome, and Jane is a great actress. She needs to be on the show more and stuff. But yeah, definitely, the female characters should not be identified just by who they're dating. They should each have individual storylines. Each have, strong plot lines that.
Yes, and we just brought up Kit and Belle. That's our next topic. Kit and Belle,
As stop right now.
As you call him, Team Boss.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen a lot of people call him Kitdolph. You don't like that term, so
it just sounds weird. Okay, let me. For the listeners out there, doesn't it sound like Santa? Come on. Santa does not know. Santa's reindeer should not have any. No. But that's their thing. That's the new ship name.
But yeah, with Kit and Belle, like now that Kit's not with her ex-husband, I think I do think that there does need to be progression because there's so much chemistry between Bruce and Jane.
Yes.
Like so many fans love it. Like, do progression on the relationship too. But as we were saying, also give Kit her own storyline.
That was I think we said this before. I don't know if this was part of this bullet point, but I think you said that you wanted Belle to be back to CEO or chief of surgery.
Yes. Well, with Belle's plotline, like I mentioned, that I would prefer him to be able to take back over Chastain once they get rid of Red Rock.
Yeah.
And a lot of other fans kind of echo that because they're used to Belle being in the administration. And he's not just only the CEO, but he was also the chief of surgery. So that was just something we were used to, I think.
But the problem for me with that is Belle became a good guy when he stepped down. You get what I'm saying? Like, I feel like that's when he changed. He became more passionate to the patients. He wasn't all about money. He was, making sure that the patients were comfortable, etc. He loved being a surgeon. I mean, like, hello, remember that time where they cut him out of all of the ORs because he had a day of filming or whatever, so he was like itching and begging to do a surgery. I mean, I feel like I'm afraid that if he reverts back to being a CEO or chief of surgery or whatever, so he's going to also revert back to being this money hungry, money first, patient second, whatever. You know what I mean?
The Belle we see in season 1.
Yeah, the surgeon that he was in season 1 and 2.
We don't want Hodad back.
Yeah, we don't want Hodad back. But I'm afraid that making him CEO and stuff is gonna bring Hodad back. I don't know.
But obviously, Red Rock is obviously they're in the first part of the season because it wasn't filmed. Is their goal to getting Kim and Kane out of there. Belle's obviously going to be integral into that as well. Conrad, as well Marshall, because Amy's already said Marshall will return. I definitely think, like I said this before in the Burn It All Down podcast and the one we did for 320, that I think Conrad should take it because it doesn't make sense if he didn't. The only way that I think that they can take Red Rock down is do it from the inside, and that means Conrad being on the inside. And of course, if they bring Marshall back, he's a businessman. Marshall can help Conrad navigate it along with Belle and the rest of the team and get Red Rock out of there. That's how I envision seeing Red Rock go
down. What is that story? What is that line that Marshall said in the season finale about
something about
being
careful there's too many steps to the dark side or something like
Yeah,
that.
there's not too many steps to the dark side or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I just hope that if Conrad plays with the dark side, he still keeps.
Matt can do that scenario quite well. So I wouldn't be surprised to see it. Conrad has a moral gray zone that he can play in. And it's probably actually, I hate to say this because I love Conrad, but it's probably one of my least favorite parts of his character. But if they're going to have that part of him, let him use it.
Yeah.
I don't like it, but you know, he always has Nick to check him. He has Marshall to check him and pull him back. So that's how I envision a Red Rock going down. How do you envision Red Rock going down?
I too see it as Conrad joining Red Rock. But I know people want to only see the evil, I guess, in Barrett Kane or whatever, but I do think that he has some good. And
I think Kane will be integral, and I think that they're going to try to, because Morris Chestnut's going to be around a while, guys.
Yes.
That's definitely, he's going to be in season 4. He's going to be a main character for the rest of at least season 4. I see him being around at least for the rest of the series as long as Morris wants to do it. And but no, I definitely think Kane's going to be around still, and I definitely think they're going to try to redeem him, making him a good guy. That's why they had to humanize him with Justine. And I think that that's going to continue into the first 3 episodes that were supposed to be in season 3 and through the rest of the episodes in season 4. And Kane, I think, because he knows Red Rock, he actually can help, obviously, be partner with Conrad and help bring it down.
Well, how do you think Kane is gonna react when he finds out that Conrad is offered pretty much his position? You know what I mean?
Well, first off, Conrad can't be chief of surgery because he's an internist. So, but he's the poster boy. Right.
I mean, like he's taking Kane's position as like the poster boy or whatever. So,
they were going to, highlight his career as a war veteran and stuff, right? Okay. Yeah. I don't
which again
know.
leads to your point, which is that yay, positive. We get to see more story of Conrad military.
Yeah, and like it could easily bring back characters that we want, like Jude. It could show how Conrad got his, PTSD and all his issues, which I know was a storyline Matt wanted to delve into. So I think it's something that I'm interested in seeing Matt Zuckery pull off, because I don't think I've ever seen this part of him. Like, I've seen him go a little dark, but I haven't seen him.
I just want to see him in uniform.
Military uniform.
I'm pretty sure most women would love to see that. Yeah. And Kayla, I'm sure you do too.
Yeah, I do know. Yeah. So
I just want to go back to that. Do you think Conrad will wear his dress uniform when he is gonna get married, or?
I just thought about that. I would love that because I'm in a military family, right?
Yeah, same here.
And so yeah, I have cousins who got married in their dress uniforms. Yeah, I don't see how could they make him a war veteran and not have him get married in his dress uniform? I didn't even think about that. Like he's retired, obviously, but it's still, no matter what, it needs to be honored that he was a military person. So, Amy, please honor that, and it's only because we've both seen it personally, that, speaking from being in military families, that
it's a big deal. And
it's a big deal.
It was really good. Having even if you're like just not, you're like having a civilian wedding or whatever. So if you're a military vet, it's something. It's an honor to wear that dress uniform kind of thing. So
the other thing, for the conic wedding, like, we need Kyle and we need Marshall.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Especially since Glenn Morshower is going to be back. Well, why wouldn't he be at his own son's wedding?
Yeah, no, exactly. Especially since their relationship is so much better now. But no, we also need Kyle because Nick is the only living daughter he has now.
Of course. But does he have to walk her down the aisle? I just feel like,
I don't know. It is traditional. I get it. Some people are like, yes, Kyle should do that. And it would be, like, for me,
yeah,
I'm fine with it.
They didn't exactly have the best relationship either.
But I do think he deserves to get to see his daughter get married.
Oh, yeah. But I don't know if he deserves walking her down the aisle. He could be in the audience. She could walk herself.
So we'll see where they go with that. But yeah, now that you brought it up, Conrad in military uniform, definitely.
Dress uniform at the wedding.
Yeah.
Oh, man, that would look so good.
So, next topic, LGBTQ representation. This show has very little. Not in the main characters. We have guest characters that have brought some representation to the show, but what we are actually pushing for with this topic is to have either one of the main characters come out or a recurring character get added, or one of the recurring characters we already have come out. One of the two.
Yeah. I mean, here's the thing. As we noted, Shauna came out as queer. It would be interesting to see her, Mina also come out as queer. Like, I mean, that does not mean that Minator can't happen. Like, that they're not exclusive. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But another recurring character that I could see maybe coming out as LGBTQ is Grayson.
Definitely.
Yeah, I mean.
So that's kind of it's just that this particular show, compared to some of the other shows I've watched and seen, it's lacking. And it would bring more audience if they were to have this representation. I'm just.
This is why, like, I'm mad at you. We've lost our recording because, like, we said that there will be people who say, like, oh, I don't want to see another gay character on TV or whatever. Like, I don't want that beat up like your head or whatever. And a lot of times it's like, I've never heard anybody complain about another straight character, another straight couple on TV. So why are you complaining about a gay couple on TV? You get what I'm saying?
I do.
It's like, why are you complaining about a gay couple? I've never heard you complain about a straight couple on TV. so crazy. But
equal representation.
Definitely. I mean, it goes back to our recent podcast recently with Marquis, where it's diversity. Yeah. Diversity all around. Diversity isn't just in the color of the skin. It's about gender identity, LGBT, whatever, you know what I mean?
Yes,
So,
definitely.
also, yeah, I would definitely like to see that. Pride Month was just in June, so, and Fox TV put out a video of all of their TV shows and their their characters, LGBTQ characters, um, in the video, and sadly, the resident was very underrepresented. You know what I mean?
Yes,
so
definitely.
That video definitely showed our lack of LGBTQ characters in our show.
So this is just something that we're bringing up to hopefully, and I know some of the writers listen, so I'm just bringing it up because I know we're not the only two fans that have noticed it.
Yeah.
And it would be something that we would really love to see more in form of more diversity for season 4.
Yes, for the resident.
Yeah. Our next topic is the timeline for season 4. A lot of people think there's going to be a time jump because of how long our hiatus has been.
Yes.
I agree.
Makes perfect sense. Yeah.
I think the first 3 episodes, because they were supposed to be in season 3, will obviously be no time jump. But after that, I definitely think that there should be some type of time jump to represent, just to make it more fluid with how they're going to deal with the coronavirus and the protests and everything. I definitely think that there should be some type of time jump to honor that.
Yes. Definitely. And also, I mean, yeah. Do you think that Red Rock's demise will be in the first 3 episodes, or no? I don't think so.
I don't think so.
Yeah,
I think it'll be because they have more chance of making it more of an art now.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens with that. Medical representation and stories we'd like to see. You brought up invisible disabilities.
Oh yeah, definitely.
They've already touched on epilepsy.
Yes.
Which is why I connected to it so much. Because I have it. And I was just like, yeah, because unless people see you having a seizure, they don't know you have epilepsy.
Yeah. There's others that a lot of people haven't heard of. I mean, you get EDS, which is Ehlers-Danlos syndrome. POTS, I don't know what that stands for. All these, a lot of the service dog community deals with invisible illnesses that most people, mainstream people, don't know about. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And so I feel like it would be awesome for the resident to talk about like POTS, EDS, even what's the one where people are allergic to not glucose, but
gluten.
Yeah, there's a celiac disease.
Celiac disease. I was about to say, that sounds like what you were talking about, but yeah, celiac disease. I know that tightly.
All kinds of invisible illnesses that mainstream media, mainstream people don't really know about. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I feel like
the resident has a platform, and they've done it before with maternal mortality.
With
they have a platform yes,
as well. They had a person come in there in season 1 who was diagnosed with MALS, which is anyway, I can't remember, but it has to do with the tendon on the chest, and the person is starving or whatever because they can't get babies. Anyway, but yeah, so yeah, it's all kind. They've already had a history of bringing to light illnesses that most people don't know about. So
Yeah. So that was one of the things. Also, like, if they are going to have a disabled person, like, on the show, like a disabled character, then the actor that they cast either needs to have the disease that they're trying to have it. I mean, they need to be disabled.
Yeah.
They don't need to have an able-bodied person in a wheelchair. If they're going to bring awareness to the disease, they need to have the person that has it actually know how to.
Hi, Amy.
That's kind of my other thing is if they're going to bring awareness to a physical disability, then like what Camille has, the spina bifida.
Yeah, spina bifida, Camille bonus, wheelchair user. You ever need, you ever want to write a storyline about that? Hi.
So yeah, just those are the kind of things we just want to, and we know that their overarching thing, they're going to have to be talking about coronavirus. They're going to be talking about definitely how everything's being handled. Obviously Atlanta has a huge problem with coronavirus, and we mentioned it earlier. And Georgia in general has a huge problem. I'm one of the people saying, please wear your mask. And here, I'll say it again, please wear your mask.
Wear the mask.
No matter if there's an ordinance or not, wear the thing.
I know.
End of story. It shouldn't take an ordinance for you to wear it. There we go. The characters that we would like to see return. Obviously, we've touched on a few of them. Jude, when they're talking about Conrad's history with the military. As a veteran. So Jude is a part of that because they served together. So it would be really cool to see Warren Christie return.
Yeah.
We're going to be actually talking about his character a little bit more in the next coming week. Also, obviously, Kyle, Marshall, Andrea will probably be back because she's AJ's girlfriend at the current moment. Adaku and Michelle. Any other characters?
Well, obviously Tasso and Jessica.
I mean, yeah, we're recurring characters, but we kind of assume that they would be returning.
I want Grayson back, y'all.
Grayson, we want Grayson back.
We know Irving and Jessica. I just want I just want to show that. I want coronavirus to be over, or at least controlled in a way where everyone is safe enough to go back to work. Some of the cast, some of the background actors, etc., are friends of mine, Facebook friends of mine. And
the crew.
Yeah, the crew. And they need to go back to work. They need to have a job to, feed their family or whatever. So it's like this coronavirus and people being, irresponsible and stuff like that. It's affecting everybody.
Yeah.
So don't be selfish and say, it's about me or whatever. So like, be kind and, take care of them. The other thing that we talked about was, I would like them to talk about Black Lives Matter. And I know Marquis said that they're going to touch lightly, quote unquote, on the protests and stuff. It's in the early stages of writing, but I don't think it's right for them to just touch lightly on the storyline. If you're gonna spend a story arc on coronavirus, that's good, but you can't ignore the other major storyline that's been going on concurrently with coronavirus.
Especially since the show is set in Atlanta, Georgia. Atlanta is a hub for this protest.
Yeah.
Georgia in general has had issues with this. It's not just the city of Atlanta, it's the state itself. Okay. But they can't, I mean, to me, if they want to be true to what's happening in the show, what's happening in the world in the show, then they can't really just lightly touch on it.
Touch about it. I don't think it.
And I know some people can be like, I tune into this show because it's fictional. I don't want reality in my fictional show. I understand where you're coming from, but this show is a medical drama, and for them to be realistic about what's happened, they need to talk about coronavirus. For them to be realistic about what's happening in the world in Atlanta, they need to talk about the protests. Yep. Just in my opinion.
Yep. You can't have three main characters, three main actors be black and not bring it up.
And not only that, we also have an Indian actor.
Yeah, and they're all of whom have been very vocal in their support for Black Lives Matter. That is disingenuous to them and disrespectful. I would assume anyway to their stance and like their beliefs on whatever. You know what I mean? Because they're using their platforms to.
And are these actors actually the cast going to hold them accountable for their stance? That's what I want to know.
Yeah. So
I know that we've heard from a few actors that they were going to do just that. So we're with you. We want to see how Fox is going to be held accountable for what they actually said with donating.
Yeah. I mean, the Resident.
And the
put out a statement that they will be supporting financially, I think it was, ACLU and Black Lives Matter. They put out a statement that they were going to do this. This is a different statement than Fox, who just said we stand by Black Lives Matter. They like literally, that was a copy and paste thing. Because pretty much all networks said that same thing. But the Resident itself put out a separate statement that did not, and if you say that, you better back it up. The actors are like, hey, you can't just, say that without doing it. You know what I mean?
Yep.
But like I said, I think that they should talk about the Black Lives Matter, and but yeah. Touch upon stuff that is happening in Atlanta. Don't just ignore it. And like I said, you're gonna do coronavirus, which is a big news story for months now. You can't also ignore the other big news story that's been going on.
So that's our stance on that scenario. Before we go, I just want to mention that next week we are going to be talking about Comrades in Arms, which is episode 103.
Yes. The group of Jude.
Yeah, it's just the first episode Jude's in, played by Warren Christie. And obviously we've mentioned already in this podcast that we would like to see him back when they touch on Conrad's military background.
Yes.
So that's next week's podcast. The Patreon account, which you can donate however little down to $1 or however much you want. It goes back to getting software and new equipment and interviews, which is the big one, because we keep getting comments about wanting Matt or Emily. And first off, Matt doesn't have social media, so he's really hard to get in touch with. Emily has it, but again, she barely gets the chance to read anything that comes through on her social media. It's just overwhelming.
They're expensive.
Yeah, they're also very expensive. So if you want to help us pay to get Matt and Emily on the Resident Rulebreakers, donate to the Patreon account. That if you want these interviews, you need to help us donate the money so we can get you the interviews that you're asking for. All right.
All right, let's start it.
But also, before we go, we mentioned at the beginning of the podcast, but obviously the cast birthdays in August are Bruce and Malcolm.
Yes.
Malcolm's actually turning the big 50. And okay, Bruce will be 64 on August 12th,
Yes.
and Malcolm will be 50 on August 18th.
And that turns.
What we want you to do, obviously we have special podcasts both those weeks. One's about Belle because we couldn't get in touch with Bruce. So it could still happen where we could convert it up at the last minute, and Bruce actually reaches out to us and agrees to finally do the interview. But for now, to honor Bruce's birthday, we're going to do a podcast about Belle and how he's developed, like we did for Manish with Devin. But with Malcolm, because we do have an interview confirmed, we are going to release his interview the day before his birthday on August 17th. So, but if the fans want to post release or send a happy birthday greeting to either of them, send it to us via either Facebook Messenger, because I'm willing to take that, or our email, which is theresidentRulebreakers@gmail.com. I need it the Saturday before their birthdays, though, or I will not have time to edit anything.
Yep.
So that is the deal on that one. So that's kind of the big part of that. Like I said, email residentRulebreakers@gmail.com. Our Twitter account @ResidentPodcast. Instagram, which is @TheResidentPodcast. Camille's is @TheResident on Fox Fans, and I'm @KBCountry37. Facebook, The Resident Rulebreakers Podcast. That's the name of the page. And then the Facebook group, The Resident on Fox Fans, is linked to that page. If you're not already in it, you can click the button that says join group, and you can join, answer the questions, and please do answer all the questions if you're not already in it. There we go. So tune in next week for our discussion on 103 Comrades in Arms. My name is Kayla.
I'm Camille. Bye.
Bye.